Wow.
And I've been filled ever since.
And when was it? Give me your first experience of speaking in tongues, Pastor Tilmon.
When I filled the Holy Ghost, and so I speak in unknown tongue. I pick up the book now and read Acts 7 chapter, and the Holy Spirit comes on me like speaking unknown tongue.
So anytime you read from that
If I
chapter,
read from that chapter,
God will fill you.
yeah, I get it in my spirit.
That's how He works with you. That's how He.
I get it in my spirit now.
Jesus.
We don't just you don't just do it on your own.
I understand.
You had to want it,
Right.
and then God will give it to you.
Yes.
But everybody don't have a gift.
Right.
Everybody, see, when you feel, the only way you can speak a long tongue, you got to be filled with the Holy Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
You're being born again. The 3rd chapter of St. John, Jesus said that my first sermon was being born again. Except man be born again, because he's the kingdom of God.
What book did you preach from?
My first sermon was preach. You must be born again. God changed my voice.
And what was your book that you came from?
Huh?
What was the book?
3rd chapter of St. John.
3rd chapter of St. John. Okay.
And my voice like another man was talking. People lived upstairs that heard me talking in a heavy voice. Oh, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
That was witness.
That was your first sermon.
Yeah. Now, being born again, Jesus said, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God.
Right.
You got to be born again, except Christ the person Savior, before you can, in the spirit, before you can see the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
When you've been born again, that's the spirit, into my spirit now, second birth.
Mm-hmm.
Then the spirit come upon you. But he said, except a man be born again, can't see the kingdom of heaven. Nicodemus said, how can a man be born? He's old.
Mm-hmm.
In the second time, Jesus said, except a man be born of the water and of the spirit, he cannot enter in.
Right.
So you got to be born of the water and the spirit before you enter in.
Right.
But when you believe Jesus died and rose again, you're born of the spirit.
Right.
Then you can see the kingdom.
Okay.
But in order to come in, you got to be born of the water and the spirit.
And the spirit. Before
you can enter in.
Right.
And then he wanted to know how would I know I've been born again. He said, the wind blows where it listens.
Mm-hmm.
You hear the sound of the heart. Can I tell where to come, where to go, where to go? He said, everyone born of the spirit, it's like the wind.
Right.
The wind whistles. When the spirit hits you, you holler, oh!
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He tells you how you know you've been born again. You'll know it because something will come over you.
Yes. Yes.
That's what he explained, you know.
And where did you preach this first sermon? Where were you at?
I was being called to preaching, and the Lord had told us, leave a Prince of Peace. My wife left first.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to go because I love the pastor. And so things started happening.
Mm-hmm.
And my spirit dropped. And then I said, Lord, if you want me to pastor, you got to show me what you want me to do.
Mm-hmm. And
the Lord showed me lots of things. He showed me. And he taught me. He had 2 white guys come in the neighborhood, setting up churches. Mm-hmm. So we started church in the house.
So that was your first sermon in the house?
Yeah.
Was it in this?
First, being a pastor.
Wait, no, that first sermon that you told me you preached, where was that preached at?
In my house.
In this house, right?
The first, that's when God gave it to me, but I preached it in a white church.
Oh, in a white church.
And they didn't want to hear it.
And where were you? Where was that church at?
It was on the north side.
So your first sermon that you told me you preached, to be born again, you preached it in a white church on the north side. And you say they didn't want to hear it.
They walked out.
Did you preach it in the spirit? Were you in the spirit at this time?
I preached as God gave it to you when you're young. You know, when you're young, you have to be taught.
Yes. Were you? I mean, was you on fire already at this time? Your first sermon in a white church. I'm saying, you're in a white church preaching your first sermon. Was you already preaching in the spirit at this time, or what did that come down?
I'm telling what the Lord said.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Amen.
See, you have to grow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
See, you don't preach like I didn't preach like no wild person, but the Lord said I want to preach it. The Lord only poured the Holy Ghost upon me, let me know He wanted me to preach, but I had to study.
Right.
See, 2 Timothy 2:15 says, "You study show yourself
approved." Right.
Or we have your saying right about the word of truth. When God called me to preach, I went to school and studied the word of God. You have to learn the word of God.
Right.
You be full of Holy Ghost, all you be doing hollering, hollering going on, you know.
Right.
But you have to
learn the word.
Learn.
Now, at that church, you said people actually walked out.
Yeah.
Now, did that discourage you behind that when you think back? Or was you so on fire for God that it didn't even discourage
It
you?
didn't bother me because I got my papers and everything, and another minister had my books and everything. It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother you.
You learn how white people think they know it all.
Yes.
You know, like now, you go to white church, some places, you can be educated and do the same job, and they work with you, and they still think they are more superior than you.
Right.
But see, God knows no respect of person.
That's right.
In the 28th chapter of Matthew, you say, go into all the world and teach the gospel to every creature. Jesus said, teach them to observe all things.
Right.
Whatever we would get filled with the Holy Ghost. He said, teach.
Now, with that white church, was that the church that was trying to establish you?
Right. That church had men going out, setting up churches.
They were setting up churches.
Yeah.
And they helped you set up yours? They showed you how to turn in your paperwork and all those things?
Yeah, I told the Lord, the Roman preacher should got teach me. And the Lord had white people come in there, and they went and teach me, and started at my house, having revival at my house, and the white guys that was teaching and reading the Bible.
Okay.
And after God got me started, got me going, He sent them away.
He's sending them away.
Yeah, He lost them away.
So they assisted you in setting up all you getting ordained and getting all your legal paperwork done.
Right.
And then after you were established, then God sent them on.
Broke out, yeah.
Then He sent them on away.
He sent them away. The church was on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
The church, and I had my books. I got my papers, and my pastor guy let another minister have that. And he said, and we were doing so good,
Mm-hmm.
we draw the white people away from their church and started to fellowship with me.
Really?
And they said, out of 6 months out of business, they went out of business. God put them out of business. Send them to Milwaukee. The church went out of business.
So they said you were going to go out of business, and God caused it where they went out of business.
They went out of business.
And you went on.
And I went on.
And God let you go on.
Let me go on. That's when
Right.